The handstand is one of the coolest moves you'll ever learn in your calisthenics journey. It looks impressive, it's fun as hell to do, and all of the cool anime characters are doing it. And for being such a beautifully simple skill, it's really hard to pull off. In fact, I've spent longer than I'd like to admit trying to learn the handstand. Losing balance, unable to hold myself up, contemplating life. And I'd probably still be struggling with the handstand to this day if I hadn't learned these 4 simple steps. And today I'm going to share each of these steps with you so you don't have to struggle as long as I did. I'm going to break down each of the steps in this video. I'll show you extra tips and tricks to make learning the handstand a lot easier, and I'll share one crucial mistake that stopped me from getting the handstand soon. To get the handstand, you really only need to master 4 simple things: the shoulder strength, the balance, the fall, and the kick up. And if you've got each of these down, the handstand will come to you no problem. But that's easier said than done, of course. So we're going to tackle each of these one by one, starting with shoulder strength. See, Midoriya didn't master one for all in a day. Sung Jin-woo wasn't S rank on day 1. In fact, the opposite. So you're not going to be able to hold up your entire body weight on day 1 either. Unless you're one of those guys who can already do that on day 1. But if you're not, then we've got to build up to that. So if you're just starting out, forget balance, forget everything else. You got to prioritize getting stronger shoulders. But what's the best exercise you should do when you're just starting out? Well, in my opinion, it's the pike hold. Getting used to this exercise will allow you to position your shoulders correctly and build up that needed shoulder strength. When doing these, focus on extending your arms overhead as much as possible so that your upper body is as straight as can be, while also shrugging your shoulders towards your ears, pushing your entire body up. This is a technique that we're going to use in every single progression of this video, so you better get really good at it. You can also throw in some pike push-ups if you want to get fancy. But once you start to get stronger, you can then transition over to the elevated pike hold. Now we're getting closer and closer to the actual handstand. Since your feet are elevated, your body is more stacked over your hands, which emulates the handstand a little more, and it's a lot harder. You also want to make sure you're looking slightly above your hands towards the ground when doing any progression, not just this one. And after building that foundational strength, we want to continue building on that strength, and we want to start trying to get used to the feeling of being upside down. But we'll want to do so in a way that requires no balance because life is already tough as it is. So the way I started working on that is back to wall handstands. Since you have the wall, the only thing you need to worry about is keeping your body up. It's also great for working on body alignment, making sure your shoulders, hips, and feet are stacked above your hands. It's also great for practicing the kick up, which will come in handy later in this video. Alternatively, you can also try the stomach to wall handstand, which is, in my opinion, a lot better for body alignment, but the closer your hands are to the wall, the more terrifying it is. So if you're just starting out, you don't need to be so close to the wall, but either way you go, try to keep your entire body straight, engaging your abs and glutes. Because the key to a successful handstand is a long, tall, hard, and rigid body position. What did you think I was going to say? And once you get comfortable being upside down and your shoulders are as pumped as whoever this guy is, you're ready to start learning how to actually balance on your hands. But before we talk about hand balancing, we need to understand one key principle. When you're standing with your feet apart and you lose your balance, one of 2 things will happen. You'll either fall backwards or you'll fall forwards. When you fall backwards, you put more pressure on your heels to bring yourself back to center. And when you fall forwards, you put more pressure on your toes to bring you back to center. And in a handstand, you're basically doing the exact same thing, only instead of your feet, you got your hands. Your hands are your feet. So one of the first things you'll want to practice is adjusting the pressure of your fingers. Get in a tabletop position and try leaning forward, and then only bringing yourself back by the pressure of your fingers against the ground. Then lean back and try going forward by just releasing the pressure from your fingers and pushing from your palm. This can be difficult to get used to, but what helped me was not having my hands flat on the ground. You'll actually want to place your hands in a tiger claw position, and if it helps, you can just pretend you're Baek Yoon-ho from Solo Leveling. And if you practice this enough, you'll start to get a good grip for what the handstand might feel like. But just doing the tabletop drills isn't going to be enough for learning the handstand. So I'm going to give you guys some exercises that help me to achieve good hand balance very quickly. The easiest one to start with is going to be the frog stand. Squat down and place your hands on the ground, and then lean forward while resting your inner thighs on top of your elbows. Then keep leaning forward until you feel your feet leaving the ground, and then boom, you've become the flying frog. I personally have an easier time hand balancing whenever I keep the weight just about here right below my fingers. And if you're struggling with this, try starting out with both feet resting on the ground and then taking one foot off the ground at a time, maybe doing some toe taps, just until you start getting used to the balance. But as you start to get better, you're going to want to take it up a notch. So the next exercise after the frog stand is going to be the crow pose, which is like the frog stand, but you're resting your knees on top of your elbows instead. But you didn't click on this video just to get on your knees.
Huh?
It's a little sus. No, you want to develop elite level hand balancing to get that elusive handstand. So if you want to start really taking it to the next level, then you're going to want to start doing heel pulls. Doing a back to wall handstand with a little more distance. Slowly start pulling your heels away from the wall while trying to hold your balance and only putting your heels back when you feel like you're going to fall. And if you're not ready to take both feet off the wall just yet, you can always do one foot at a time. If you want to do a scarier alternative, but also super effective for developing hand balance, try doing the toe pull, which is the same as the heel pull, but your stomach to wall instead of back to wall. These are going to be great because they're going to train you to actually stop falling forward rather than falling backwards. But I wouldn't even attempt the toe pulls until you've mastered the art of falling on your ass. Not only is this helpful because, you know, you'll be alive, but it also help you get over the fear of doing handstands. So you'll fall in one of two directions, forwards or backwards. If you fall backwards, then you land on your feet, you're a-okay, nothing bad happens, it's a good day. Well, call me Dr. Seuss. But if you fall forwards and you have no idea what to do, then you can kiss your ass goodbye. Now, it's a little difficult to explain with, you know, just voiceover, so I'm gonna hand it over to B-Roll Kevin. Take it away, B-Roll Kevin.
Thank you, A-Roll Kevin. So you want to learn how to fall? I got you. So when you get in the handstand position, you want to pick a side that you feel most comfortable falling towards. So for me, that would be the left side. And when you're in the handstand and you feel you're leaning way too far forward, take this hand away, and then you start to fall in that direction that you picked. And then twist your body so that you land feet first onto the side. So you're not going to land on your back when you continue to fall forward. You're going to fall onto the side, onto your feet. It's a lot easier to demonstrate it than just explain it. So here, I'm gonna go into the handstand. Oh, overbalance, take a hand away, land on the feet. Spider-Man pose. All right, one more time. Go into the handstand, oops, overbalanced, boom, shakalaka. There we go, I'm safe, I'm not hurt, I'm a-okay. Back to you, A-Roll Kevin.
Thank you, B-Roll Kevin. God, what a loser, right? Comment below who you like better, A-Roll Kevin or B-Roll Kevin. When you're practicing your falling, just be really careful about the objects around you. The other day I was practicing handstands and I basically slammed my entire lower body onto the table. My feet got super cut up and bruised. It was not a pretty sight. But now that you learned how to fall, we can now work on the hardest part of the handstand, which is the kick up. This is the part where you actually get into the handstand position and then hold your balance from there. It's also the step that I got stuck on for a very long time. So here are some exercises that helped me to make it easier for myself. First is the kick up to the wall. Set your hands further from the wall and then kick up to it, but try your best not to touch it. If you aren't at that level yet, then you can practice pressing your fingers into the wall to slow down your acceleration towards it. And then once you get really good at this, then you'll start to have more control over your body. And this is a great way to deal with overshooting your kick up, but we also want a way to deal with undershooting our kick up. So by practicing overshooting it on purpose, you can train your body to give it the correct amount of force if you weren't giving it enough before. And then you can try to control the balance from there. And at the same time, it's great practice for learning how to bail out of the handstand. And eventually you're gonna start to get a feel for what the correct amount of force is to use in your kick up to get into the balance every single time. Pro tip, when practicing any kick up, you wanna make sure that your shoulders are already aligned over your hands at the start. Just increases your chances of hitting that sweet spot every single time. But the thing is, you can practice these all you want, but you're still going to be experiencing a lot of undershooting and overshooting before actually getting that sweet spot. And once you do find the sweet spot and you can find it consistently, then my friend, you have successfully achieved the handstand. But no matter which progression you're currently at, there's one mistake that sabotaged my handstand training, and it'll probably sabotage yours too. See, I always included some form of handstand training at the beginning of my push days because I wanted to achieve the handstand so badly. But to my surprise, I wasn't getting better. And the reason for that was I wasn't training enough. No, I'm not asking you to always be walking in your hands the whole time. That's a little bit ridiculous. But to get really good at handstands, you need to increase your training frequency. But you don't need to be training for crazy long hours. I found that just 10 minutes a day, 7 days a week, was enough for me to go from barely doing a kick up to the handstand of my dreams. And with that much training, you'll also get some pretty decent shoulders too. But if you wanted to really develop some super big 3D delts like your favorite anime characters, you're going to want to do more than just handstands. So if you want to learn how to develop your shoulders without any weights, you can check out this video right here.